time for guitar class. We're going to see if we can make it through. I'm recovering from COVID. So we'll see how things go. I haven't picked up a guitar in 2 weeks. Feels like I'm starting over from scratch. And yeah, pretty rough. All right, let's log into the Denver Guitar Orchestra website, denverguitarorchestra.com, and let's post our link on our music today. Today we have a whole bunch of stuff to get through. We're wrapping up book 1, and we are on book 2, playing Simple Gifts, which is a great song. And then we are playing, hold on, link, enter, edit, settings, open a new window, update. And then we're starting Skip to My Loo, which nobody wants to play Skip to My Loo, but there's 2 things in it you have to know. And so you might as well get it. If it's going to be annoying and you have to know it, you might as well get it in the most annoying form possible, in my opinion. So Skip to My Loo combined with the F chord and the C7 chord. It's a match made in heaven. Book 3, we're last round on Für Elise. It's going to study House of the Rising Sun, which is an interesting tune, honestly. And then in the classical area, we've got a whole bunch of stuff we're wrapping up from the past. Got 3 songs left for the future, and then we finished book 0 of the Royal Conservatoire of Music, and so we get the honor and the excitement of replaying all of those songs starting next week, and then we'll move on to book 1. Book 0 won't go away. We'll use that as a warm-up from now on. All right, so let's go to, let's see, I think I got everything posted here correctly. Vic and Sandy are here. Who else do we need? Linda's going to be here momentarily, I feel confident, and we'll keep moving forward. HTTPS. I've got, you are probably hearing this computer, the fan runs all of the time. I do not know why. Then I have the air conditioning fan running, and I at least turned off the humidifier fan. So sorry for all the fans. I'm sure you can hear them, but this room is kind of stuffy in the summer. DenverGuitarOrchestra.com. There's that. Click here, 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 and here, and tweet. All right, we haven't met in a long time, so it's good to see you guys. Sound and video are good. Good evening, Sandy. Sandy's getting a guitar. It's very exciting. Cordoba has a 3/4 size. It's called the Cadet. It's a wonderful guitar. I would be playing that guitar, honestly, had it not been for the fact that I found this on the internet and I bought it. And this is a half-size guitar, and it just, I don't know, it feels like it fits in the screen better. So that's what I've been playing on the broadcast, and I would say for the most part, most people play guitars that are way too big for them. And so I'm trying to set a good example for the rest of the planet by playing a parlor-sized guitar. And they're kind of hard to find with nylon strings, honestly. And I found this one on Reverb, and a guy in Mexico owned it, and he sent it to me. And it was built in Spain, has basically a full-size neck on it, sorta. But then this little tiny body, almost a baritone ukulele-sized body. And it has a delicious crack right up the fretboard here, which I love when I'm playing guitar. I just want to have a guitar that's just barely hanging on. That's always the thing I love the most. All right, there's that. Linda, there she is. Okay, now we can start. Shouldn't mention any 10 minutes, but all I needed. Yeah, as you guys know, I'm getting over COVID, and it turns out the first couple of days with it, nobody I know got this thing. Nobody. Everybody Donna knows has it, but now nobody I know has it. And so where it came from, I don't know. I got a theory, but it's a pretty remote possibility, but that's it. And the first 2 days were rough. Like, there was a lot of coughing and a lot of just not being able to be happy and everything hurting and that sort of thing. But after that, it's been pretty basic. Lot of sleeping. And I noticed, like, every day like today, our goal was I'm going to take the trash out kind of thing, right? And boy, just got back and I'm like, man, I need a nap. So yeah. So it's that fatigue thing that's being a problem. And then my voice sounds weird, so which is sort of annoying, but it sounds weird under the best of circumstances, right? All right, so let's talk about where I think we're at, where we're going, and all that. So where I think we are at is we were finishing up book 1. So we're working on a little bit of strumming and singing, and so we're going to pick a couple of songs. If you want to pick a couple of songs out of the strumming book, just let me know. Just type them in the thing, and we'll do those. But as you guys know, I always have my favorites. What I would like to do primarily is play Kookaburra. Because it has all 4 chords in it. So if you want to grab Kookaburra, and then we can play anything else you want to, just toss it over in the chat bar and we can play it for book 1. And that'll give us a chance just to get back into that thought process of, here are your chords, what are you going to do with your right hand to make them interesting? And then we'll talk book 2, book 3 as we go along. Book 2 and book 3 sort of chug along until we get to the end, and then they repeat. And then we've got a ton of work to do in the classical department. We'll get to what we get to today, and then we'll move on. So on Kookaburra, remember you have an A chord, Kookaburra, and then you're going to immediately get to your D chord, sits in the, and then the A chord, old gum tree. And then for some reason I went ahead and repeated the A on the next line. That's not typical. Merry, merry king of the bushes, he. And a D chord, laugh. And then you've got to get to your F sharp minor. So what I'd work on here, coming out of the D, in most songs you're either going to get to F sharp minor from the A, boom, or from the D. Laugh, Kookaburra, A chord, gay your life must be. So we'll go real slow, so hopefully you can be getting your chords on in time. Talk about it all the time, but when there's this much chord changing in a song, probably one strum, when you're newer at it and you're working on getting your chords on in time, one strum and move on to your next chord, right? Because it's going to happen way before you think. So constantly paying attention to whatever chord you have on is irrelevant. You're looking at the next chord. What's the next chord coming up? What's the next chord coming up? So when I'm singing Kookaburra, you're thinking D. When I'm singing sits in the, you're getting your A on, and so on. And with something like this, where it's basically switching chords every couple beats, merry, merry king of the bushes, he laugh, Kookaburra, whoops, what is it? Laugh, 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 Kookaburra, laugh, Kookaburra, laugh, Kookaburra, gay your life must be. See, my brain's not keeping up. So we'll go real slow. First time through, just thumb down. See how many beats you can get in before you have to switch. And yes, by the way, welcome Sandy. It's very exciting to have you. All right, so A chord, nice and slow. Oh, and Sandy, you can play your baritone tonight, right? That's 100% fine if you have it sitting there. Let's just do thumb down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Kookaburra sits in the old gum tree. Merry, merry king of the bush is he. Laugh, Kookaburra, laugh, Kookaburra, gay your life must be. Boom, 3, 4, right, B, 2, 3, 4. I notice there's no B there. Big gay your life must nothing. B. What? Nobody's ever mentioned that in any of the books. Oh, did you get your guitar? Yay! All right. I wasn't sure if you'd have it by tonight. I know you just bought it, so I wasn't sure if it was actually in your possession. So the big focus here is, one, Sandy, make sure you come around next week when we start book one over again. We're finishing this up, and this is a lot. But you're a competent musician. You know your chords, and so yeah. So they're all your baritone chords except hard. What I notice when I'm getting that F sharp minor is my first thought is get these two guys over here because they're going to be complicated. My bar is going to be reliable. It's going to show up on that second fret. Now, also remember when you're working on bar chords, and guys, I'm working on bar chords all the time. I sent a note to my teacher today. I'm like, bar chords, OMG, right? They're never going away. They're always hard. And of course, there's things you can do better or worse with bar chords. But in this case, this is one of the less pleasant ones because you have a whole lot of open strings here underneath these two. So if you can get these two right, okay, ring and pinky, as if you're putting on any other type of chord, ring and pinky there, and then get your bar on as good as you can. Your bar, you want the bar is this part here as close to the fret wire as you can without being on top of it, right? And so if I get these two guys on and then my bar drops in, that's what I'm hoping to hear. Okay. But the other thing, and there's a young woman who teaches classical guitar online, and I can't say her name. Get her Vidanian, I think. You say she's got a name that is not going to fit into my head. But she says, when I was a little girl, I used to cheat. I put this middle finger on top of my bar to help push it down. Well, I don't know how that's cheating. To me, that seems to make a whole lot of sense. So if you get here and you need to use your middle finger, it's not doing anything anyway. Use it to push down your bar. Okay. And so those are two things on the bar chord to think about. And then the last thing, of course, on the bar chord is to always remember, if yours sounds like this, that's how you're playing that bar chord right at the moment. I wouldn't lose any sleep over it. Okay, this is what you're going for. That's what you get. There comes a day when you can do these things, right? But it's probably going to be a while. All right, let's go into the second verse. Same exact chord pattern, but instead of thumb down, let's do claw picking. Pick any strings you want. I probably use the bottom 4, maybe the middle 4, something like that. Just use these as your plucking fingers and your thumb, obviously. Okay. And we'll also mention the nice part about sitting around in the back room feeling sorry for yourself is your fingernails grow in just lovely. And so clearly, if you want to have nice classical guitar fingernails, just don't do anything else. All right. So, and then now this time, getting your chords in is a little bit no more challenging, right? They're exactly the same, but trying to keep your right hand moving at a steady pace, that's a little bit harder. Okay. So from the top, second verse, 1, 2, 3, 4. Kookaburra sits in the old gum tree, eating all the gumdrops that he can see. Stop, Kookaburra, stop, Kookaburra, gay your life must be. Oh, it leaves them there for me, sorry. Okay, so there's one. There's a different thing to do over here with your right hand. Okay, so one is thumb down. That's always on every arrangement I write. I always make sure it works that way first. Okay, then I go through and I say, all right, what about these? I guess I should put an exception on the classical music. I don't do the thumb down thing. I always think about claw first, but all of the finger style stuff, thumb down needs to work, or it's just not as much fun. Next is then the claw picking. So then to fancy it up, thumb, index, middle, ring. When you're in 4/4 time, which we are here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Thumb, index, middle, ring. Thumb, index, middle, ring. Okay, and then let's do verse 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Kookaburra sits in the old gum tree, chasing all the monkeys monkeys that he can see. Stop, Kookaburra, stop, Kookaburra, that's not a monkey, that's me. Okay. Now the hard part of that was I gave you such a slow arpeggio pick that you had to change chords before you got all four plucks in on your arpeggio. So you're almost, in a lot of ways, better off to do a faster pluck. Don't sing it any faster, but do a much faster plucking. Try that. A chord. And let's do this. Let's just go ahead and do the next verse. But so instead of just that slow pluck, 1, 2, 3, 4, let's do 1 and 2 and 3 and thumb, index, middle, ring, thumb, index, middle, ring. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and Kookaburra sits on a rusty nail, gets a boo-boo on his tail. Cry, Kookaburra, cry, Kookaburra, oh how life can be. And a lot of times, even though we're still in that phase of getting comfortable with arpeggio plucking, a lot of times plucking faster and singing slower is going to be a real ticket to making your life easier. And so I used to sit, when I first got my first ukulele, I used to sit on the couch every night. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Right? And it got me where I felt very confident with these fingers doing their own thing. When you first start, they don't want to, right? They go clong, 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 clong. They do all their own things, all these terrible sounds come out. But the sooner you get where you're in control of your arpeggio plucking, if you wanted to go backwards, ring, middle, index, thumb, Kookaburra sits in the old gum, right? It usually doesn't sound as good because you're usually not starting on a root note, but it's another way to try it. Try different strings too, the high strings. Kookaburra sits, oops, Kookaburra sits in the old gum tree. And then go back and try the low strings. Kookaburra sits, let me leave it there. Kookaburra sits in the old gum tree, eating all the gumdrops that he can see. So obviously each of those gives you a different challenge and something else to try. And I like, when I'm going to sing and strum, I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be fast arpeggio plucking. That's what I'm going to be doing for sure. All right, so you're thinking about, on this hand, strumming, plucking all four, and then plucking all four in some sort of a pattern. And then I think the only other thing that's sort of a good idea is to practice boom, chuck, boom, chuck. And that's thumb, and then these three together. Bung, 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 bung. Because that's got that cowboy feeling to it. And it usually works pretty slick. So try to get your thumb, if the chord is an A, you want your thumb on the A string. If the chord is a D, you want your thumb on the D string. And if the chord is an E or an F, you want F sharp, you want the thumb on the 6th string, if you can. Okay, so thumb, everybody, thumb, everybody. Okay, try that last verse. 1, 2, 3, 4. Kookaburra. Let's go faster. 1, 2, 3, 4. Kookaburra sits on an old gum tree. Merry, merry king of the bush is he. Laugh, Kookaburra, laugh. Kookaburra, gay your life must be. Okay, so you can tell I didn't get my F sharp on that time either. F sharp minor. So there's that. All right. You guys didn't toss any songs you really want to do. So let's do one more. Let's pick a 3-chord song so we can avoid the F sharp minor. Let's see. Oh, I'm bringing home a baby bumblebee. We haven't done that one in a long time. It's kind of funny. Go to page 8. All right, page 8. A chords, D chords, and E7s. Okay, and then try each time we get to a different verse. Try something different with your right hand if you can. 1, 2, 3. I'm bringing home a baby bumblebee. Won't my mommy be so proud of me? I'm bringing home a baby bumblebee. Ouch! He bit me. I'm squishing up my baby bumblebee. Won't my mommy be so proud of me? I'm squishing up my baby bumblebee. Ew, it's on me. I'm licking off my baby bumblebee. Won't my mommy be so proud of me? I'm licking off my baby bumblebee. Ew, he's inside of me. I'm barfing up my baby bumblebee. Won't my mommy be so proud of me? I'm barfing up my baby bumblebee. Wow! Oh, what a mess! I'm wiping off my baby bumblebee. Won't my mommy be so proud of me? I'm wiping off my baby bumblebee. Oh, I forgot. Snap. Look, I'm all clean. Isn't that hilarious? Hey, Nancy, welcome in. Bring your baritone and play with the big dogs. Yeah, they're dogs for sure. I don't know how big they are. Glad to have you, Nancy. Good to see you. All right, so there's strumming is in book 1 complete. Right, this little booklet, I try to talk everybody into really digging into it and getting where they know these songs and have some thing to do with, because at some point somebody else, you're going to get to be a pretty good player and somebody's going to say, hey, teach me how to play. And this little booklet, especially since most players, most guitarists that are still in the game are chords and singing people, you will not meet very many people who play guitar like we play it. It's just too hard the way we play it. So you're going to meet a lot of people who sing and strum guitars, and this is a great way to get somebody started. You got 30-some songs in here with 4 chords. They can avoid the F sharp minor in all but 2 of the songs, and the 1-chord songs and 2-chord songs and 3-chord songs. Now every one of them is fun and nice, right? So there you go. All right, we wrapped up book 1. Next week we begin it for real. We'll go right back to Frere Jacques on June 22nd, so come sit in on that. And then let's go ahead and move on to book 2. Tonight we're going to play Simple Gifts. You've had it for months. This is a song, of course, that all you guys know, because if you're hanging around with me, you're continuously playing Simple Gift in one manner or another, because I love it. And so let's grab it. All right. My notes on here are pretty basic. The harmonics at the end is the 12th fret, 5th string. Okay, put your finger on there. You're looking for that harmonic sound. Okay, I am going to hold down. I'm going to do an artificial harmonic when I get there. I'm going to hold the A note here on 5, and then I'm going to pluck using index and thumb to get that on the 17th fret. Okay, and we'll see if I successfully pull it off or not. The other thing I would say is measure 3. You're playing this E chord, and then the melody at the last note in the melody is a 2. I just have been sliding up my index finger to get that, and then sliding right back. And then there's the 2 in measure 4. The second note is a melody note is a 2. I've been using my pinky to get there. And then my last note is a measure 5. It says 2 1 2 0. I've been starting out with my middle finger on 2. Because then it's relatively straightforward to get my A chord on. So those are some solutions I've found. You've had this a while, you probably have already come up with your solutions. So let's give it a try. Normally in a harmonica class, we blast through this thing really fast. I don't think we should do that here. If you're newer, right, if you just bought your guitar and you're showing up today, right, or if you have a baritone, right, I think you can play the whole thing. You can play the melody for sure on baritone. But you also have your chords, A chord and E chord. Or play the melody or the tough X, whichever is making you happiest. I'm going to play thumb down through this one. 1, 2, 3. Pinky. E chord. All right, I want to play that again. I did a bad job. All right, from the top. Hopefully you got some of it. Hopefully you played better than I did. From the top. 1, 2, 3. a pretty song? That's really nice. Hopefully it went well for you. All right, I don't want to spend too long on it because Skip to My Loo is sitting there going, oh, this is going to be your favorite song. All right, let's talk very quickly about Skip to My Loo. Because it's going to be terrible no matter what you do. Skip to My Loo is a dumb song, but, you know, fly in the buttermilk shoe, fly shoe, fly in the buttermilk shoe, fly shoe, fly in the buttermilk shoe, fly shoe, skip to My Loo, my darling. I don't know how you get better writing than that. But the big issue here is this is where F chord shows up first time in the program. So if you are not comfortable with this, and you shouldn't be, and if you are comfortable with this, you're probably lying to yourself, right? E chord. You know E chord from book 1. Do this exact thing except use your middle, ring, and pinky. So middle, ring, and pinky. That's where you're going to start with. Middle first, and then ring and pinky. That's your E chord. Okay? Then you take that little structure, slide it up to the next fret, and add your bar. Here's what yours will probably sound like. Okay? And that will be just lovely. Let it be that way. Okay, that's how you're going to play it. Fly in the buttermilk shoe, fly shoe. Okay, that's how you play an F chord in the beginning. 2 years from now, again, my friend online, Gohar Badanian, says this is something that takes a lot of practice, years, right? So give yourself years. I'm still working on it. Okay, when you have your F chord on, and your bar chord is down. The ones that matter, the top string matters because that's the only string that the bar is gonna. This string, the only way to get it down is the bar, and the bottom 2 strings matter because there's nothing on them, right? So if you can't get the middle, that's probably okay. These fingers are going to be doing that. All right. Okay. So there's your F chord. Let's strum 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fly in the buttermilk shoe, fly shoe. Okay, or I think I was strumming 2. Fly in the buttermilk shoe, fly in the buttermilk shoe, fly shoe. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it's fast, like a quarter note equals 200, right? Don't do it that way. Just fly in the buttermilk shoe, fly shoe. Probably twice per measure. If yours sounds like this, that's what it sounds like. Fly in the buttermilk shoe, fly shoe. Okay, try to get it down. Everybody struggles with bar chord. Okay. Then here's the problem. Okay, F chord is bad enough. Then you got to get to C7. Okay. So the way you think about C7 is get your C chord on, which is hard enough, and then you got to add your pinky on. 3rd fret, 3rd fret, 3rd string. Okay. So here's a C chord. Listen to how it changes it. There's a C chord, very easy to get along with. You add your 7th note. That note changes everything, gives you a lot of tension, so that when we have that tension, it's going to go back to the main chord. And remember, F, G, A, B, C is your 5th chord, right? So those 2 are friends, and anytime you have a 5, a lot of times you'll switch it out for the 7th chord. So C chord. And when I learned that we had to do this, I was like, I'm going to quit guitar and do something else. Don't quit, right? Just know it's hard to do. You're probably going to get a lot of this kind of thing, right? Where a couple of notes sound terrible and a couple sound fine. Let's do the measures. 5. Got your C7 on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fly in the buttermilk shoe, fly shoe. Page 2. Get your F chord on. Take a minute to get it on as good best you can, and go. Fly in the buttermilk shoe, fly shoe. Back to C7. Take a minute to get it on. Skip to My Loo, my F chord. Darling. Okay, let's go back to the top. Ready, go. I lost my partner, oh what'll I do? C7. I lost my partner, oh what'll I do? For F. I lost my partner, oh what'll I do? C7, skip to My Loo. me, I'd do that every single day until I got them on in a rational amount of time. In the beginning, you may have to do once. Fly in the buttermilk shoe, fly shoe. Fly in the buttermilk shoe, fly shoe. Fly in the buttermilk shoe, fly shoe. Skip to my Loo, my darling. Right, you may have to do that in the beginning, and it's fine. I'd say the goal is learn how to get it on the same way every time. Now, I generally speaking, with this F chord, grab the bar, add my E7 on afterwards, which is opposite of what I do with F sharp minor. With F sharp minor, I tend to grab these two and then add the bar, right? And that shape goes all the way up the neck, so you're going to be using that shape a lot. Same with F, but with F, I have a tendency to get the bar on and then add an E shape in front of it. Try it both ways, find out what works best for you, and then give yourself lots of latitude to screw this up, because this is not something that if it just happens for you, you're probably 12 playing an electric guitar, right? But the rest of us, we have to really struggle with this. This is pretty hard to do. All right, so there's your F chord and your C7. Melody here's nothing. I would take a moment on the tough acts to talk about just a couple of things. You really are going to want to hold the chord, okay? Flying, dun, 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 dun. Right? So I'm holding the whole chord the whole time, and I'm not moving anything. Now, when I get to this part over here in major 5, I'm only worried about the C chord at first. I don't actually need the C7 until measure 8. So I'm just going to get my C chord on and play that for a while. Now here's where I need the C7. My pinky hammer's down there. Okay. And then I go back to my F chord. I grab the full chord. Here's where things are quite a bit of a mess. Okay, grab the C chord at 13. I'm going to drop my middle finger to get this 2. Add my pinky to get the 3. Whoops. And then I have decided. I still haven't moved my ring finger yet, right? That it's easier to just take my index finger and stick it up here, 4th string, 2nd fret, and then take my pinky off to get this 2-2-3 business. Loo, Loo, and then I lift up my middle finger, and then I'm adding my pinky on to here, darling, and I don't need to get my F chord back on until I completely made the corner and turn around. So if I'm using my ring and pinky here, now I can be setting up my F chord to be ready for when I go back to the top of the song. So those 3 measures, I have all kinds of notes to myself in 13, 14, and 15. And again, just so we've talked about it clearly, C chord, drop your middle, add the pinky, move your index finger over and pull the pinky, lift your middle, and then add your pinky to get the F chord. Okay, and so I know for sure next week when we play this, I'm going to have a heck of a time getting through that one little section there. So that's honestly, the rest of the song I don't feel like I need to practice that much, but that section I really do need to. And that's a practice skill for you guys as well. When you are fighting a new song, right, you're going to fight everything. But once you learn certain sections of it, like you're like, okay, that F chord, I don't like F chord, but I know if I just hold that thing, I can play the whole entire first 4 lines. Then you don't need to spend a ton of time working on them, right? Measures 5 through 8, very similar thing, except the cool part is I just got to get a C chord on for measures 5, 6, and 7. I don't need to worry about that C7 until measure 8, and then it's really just a matter of adding my pinky on there. So I don't need to spend a ton of time working on that. Same thing, measures 9 through 12, they're the same as measures 1 through 4, don't need to work on those at all. And then 13, 14, and 15, probably going to work on those quite a bit. So be thinking about when you're working on a song, breaking it down into where the real challenging parts are, and working on just that. And obviously, make sure you're playing through chords all the time. Make sure you're playing through melody all the time. And I think long term, this will all come together. You'll be super happy with yourself. Okay. And yes, I'm aware what a dumb song that is. All right, book 3. Let's go grab Für Elise. All right, we've had it for a long time. Hopefully you've had a chance to play through it quite a bit. We've missed a couple of lessons, so you've had it a long time. This is a good day to wrap it up. Remember, when you get to measure 11, that is, for those of you who are ukulele players, right? That's just your E7 on a ukulele. Slide it up to 3. Add your bar on. You don't need to add a bar, just that single finger. Whatever it turns out to be. On guitar, this turns out to be a D chord. It's actually a D7 you're playing here at this moment. And then you go back to your E minor. Okay, so that's really the moment in the song where I think, gosh, I really got to pay attention to that. And I got a brand new page turner switcher thing, but I haven't figured out how to use it yet. So I will have a hard time getting the page turned. From the top, crazy slow. 1, 2, 3. Oh, Gary. Let's try it again from the top. I know what I kept thinking. You should have counted 1 and 2 and you didn't. And then that's all I could think about. 1 and 2 and. Good. Beethoven knew a little bit about writing music. Very nice piece of music, and hopefully you're having fun with that. Obviously, if you're on the piano, your goal is to play that as fast as you possibly can. Right? On a guitar, I don't know. Maybe you do that, maybe you don't. I don't think you have to. I think it sounds beautiful at whatever speed you play it at. So there we go. Nice. Done with Für Elise. Let's get it out of here. House of the Rising Sun. why is that not alphabetical? That's crazy. What happened here? Hold on. By title. Oh, I never added it in. Oh, here it is. Okay. G H. House of the Rising Sun. Guitar. There we go. Done. Done. All right. House of the Rising Sun. We're not going to play the whole thing. I'll give you a couple pieces of advice, though. Okay, so you're in A minor. What makes this song sort of famous is it's a medieval chord progression. A minor, C, D, F, A minor, C, E7, A minor. Okay, so yeah, it doesn't matter that it's a medieval chord progression. It's just kind of cool. The thing to point out, in book 2, we just worked on your F chords, right? Not a bad idea to work on them here. This is a way better song than Skip to My Loo. Let's run through it. Sing it one time. 1, 2. There is a house in New Orleans, they call the rising sun. 1, 2, and it's been the ruin of many a poor boy, and God, I know and so this should be an E7 probably. I'll fix that one of these days. It's fine the way it is. Don't worry about changing anything, but it's kind of fun to put an E7 in there. Next, the melody. You guys know the melody, and this is basically the Animals, right? That's who everybody does their House of the Rising Sun. Either like those guys or not like those guys. They're the gold standard of how to do this song. So we don't need to run through the notes very carefully. I will point out in measure 11, those notes in parentheses. You play those when you need to because of the lyrics. You don't play those when you don't need to. So the first time through at measure 11, many a poor boy, many a poor boy, you will play those threes. The second time through, you don't. Father was a gambling man, 3, 2, whatever, right? And then the last time through, you do play them, sin and misery. So that's why they're in parentheses. You play them sometimes, you don't play them other times. Let's talk the tough acts very quickly. I think that this is pretty playable. I think you'll be fine with it. It's nice and short, and it gives you a chance to work on things. But there's one particular chord I want to point out. So if I start at the top, okay, and don't go fast. Okay, so I've got my A minor on, right? But as I grabbed an A, and I didn't mean to. I shouldn't need to grab an A minor, but it wouldn't matter because I'm not going to hit the 1 no matter what. So but put your A minor on because we're supposed to. To strum, lift up your 1 to get the 0, and then grab the C chord. Okay, open, regular D chord. Here's where your bar chord F is really important. Okay, now you're going to have to lift everything up to go get this next chord. This next chord is really important. Just grab the bottom 3 5s with a half of a bar. You don't need a full bar here. And then your ring finger is going to grab that 7. So it's going to look like this, a little partial bar with your ring finger. Middle finger is just hanging out doing nothing. Your goal is to try to keep this A string open. Okay, you can do a full A minor bar chord there, but you don't want to because that A is going to ring through the whole measure. It's going to sound cool. Okay, so do that. They call and then back to your C chord, pinky on 3. Lose the pinky and then to E7. Just put in some filler notes here. Back to that partial bar of 5 with your ring on 7. your C chord, pinky, no pinky, D chord, and then here's the nice part. This F chord on tough act, you only need 3 strings. A minor, E7, you gotta move your middle finger here, and then back to your A minor. Eventually update this page with an E7 there, but the A minor works fine. I'd say probably better to put an 0201 there for your turnaround, and then go back. Okay, and then go back. So you probably know the song. It's a lot of fun, and most guitar players at some point tackle it. Vic mentions Für Elise is nice and not too hard. I'd say it's pretty hard, Vic. I'd say that says a lot about you, right? You are becoming a very fine guitarist. I'd say Für Elise is pretty challenging. I actually think it's harder than this song. And this song, I think everybody's going to love playing this song. It's just got, because it uses all these nice, deep, dark chords and stuff. So anyway, have fun with that. That should be a great week to work on that one. And that's it for books 1, 2, and 3. How much time we got? We got about 10 minutes. I have to officially be done at 7, guys. So let's look at the classical music very quickly. Those of you guys that are doing the classical program. And remember, the big difference between classical and fingerstyle. Fingerstyle takes full advantage of the chords. We use a lot of chords in fingerstyle on purpose, and then because music builds itself around chords anyway, so it makes a lot of sense. In classical music, we usually throw out the chord, right? We're still playing the chords, we're just not writing them down, and we're not really overly thinking about using all of the tones in the chord. So that's the first thing that goes in classical music. The second thing that goes in classical music is that we do very little with your thumb strumming, and we do almost all of it with your plucking like this. That's why you do the classical program, is to just get more comfortable with your claw plucking. Those are the two big differences between fingerstyle and classical. The other thing, of course, is that in classical there's this avalanche and mountain of expectations that goes along with it, and that you will play classical music correctly, and that you will not use tablature, or because that's for the lower orders, and there's all of that sort of presumptuousness that goes along with classical. I try to get rid of all of that because it's beautiful music, and I don't care what somebody thinks. If I need to fix something, we fix it. So there's why in classical, that's if you want to play classical and you want to play it the nice, fun, easy way, and have beautiful music, hang out with me, right? Because we're going to make it good. All right, I posted the last 3 songs, Nunu, Ukrainian Melody, and Lesson 48, for you to work on. So maybe you've pulled those up and looked at those. What I think we should do is we're just going to play these in order on the list. So Arpeggio Study number 1, if you'll grab that first. Did I already bring this over? No, I didn't bring it in. Did I? Surely I brought this in. I'm sure we studied this. I was playing it. I don't know why it's not in the book where it's supposed to be. Arpeggio Study number 1. Here we go. Let's take a look at that. Let's just get, and again, this one's really about just making sure your left hand placement is on the correct fret and the correct string, and that your thumb is playing things properly. P-I-M, 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 P-I-M the whole way through. Let's give it a try. Not fast. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet. 12. If you are only going to use the standard notation, that's a pretty challenging piece of music to making sure you are reading correctly as you go along. If you're using tablature, it's just work, right? And not a particularly interesting work. So I think it's a great illustration of where one set of notation makes it way harder and one set of notation makes it way easier. And so in this case, there's no question, tablature is the way to go, right? And it makes it much easier to play. There's no general flow on sheet music that you need to see in the standard notation. And so I know in the classical music world, there's this sort of a great deal of pressure to not use tablature. And there are two legitimate reasons for that, but in this case there's no legitimate reason to not use tablature here, and I think you see what's going on there. Your thumb and your fingers and all that stuff, it's just PIM, and it's a great opportunity to work on that, to make sure you're feeling comfy with that. So all right, we're moving on to gliding. All right, with gliding, the only reason to play this song at all is the last chord, right? You're going to get down here all the way to the bottom, and then you're going to go. That is the greatest thing ever. All right, so let's see how we do with it. All right, not too fast, again. It says quarter note equals 180, which that's blisteringly fast, right? You're supposed to do it super fast. We're not going to do it that fast. Here again, if you look at the standard notation, you say, okay, I see what's going on. The thumb's going to play 3 notes. That note's going to ring out, and then my index and middle are going to just do a couple of notes. Okay, and so the big thing is just making sure that when you hit your thumb, that it stays down while you hit the other 2 notes. Right, and so that's what you're working on. All right, and not fast. 1, 2, 3. Play it from the top again. Let's do the repeat. I missed a few notes along the way from measure 1. 1, 2, 3. I can do that all day. Do it one more night. All right, get it right. All right, that's a dumb song. All right, that's okay. It's an okay song. All right, and what time is it? Oh, it's exactly 7. All right, so gliding. So next week we'll get together. Simple Dialogue by Sean Bell, Bagatelle by Mike Connor. So we'll just take those top 2 off. We'll keep going forward. Make sure you grab Ninu, Ukrainian Melody, and Lesson 48. And then, guys, classical music, what we're going to do is we're going to replay without studying them everything out of Book 0 again. Okay, so make sure, go to the classical music page. If you need the password, send me a link or send me an email. I'll send you the password to the classical music page. And on the classical music page, where we keep those of you guys coming in a little bit late, there are 38 songs out of Book 0. We've done them all. Okay, some of them are good, some of them are dumb as heck, but all of them are useful for you getting your skill sets together. I have went through and replayed the whole book the other day a couple times, and there's some really good stuff in there. So we'll play the entire thing again, and then we will start digging into new arrangements for Book 1. And we won't ever just abandon a book entirely, because we'll use those other books as warm-ups. So yeah. So I gotta go. You guys have a wonderful day. Thanks for being here. Hopefully I taught you something nice about guitar. The glider crashed. I know, right? Goofiest weirdo ending I've ever seen. When I saw it, I was like, that's got to be a typo. Man, I dug into it. I'm like, no, that's what he wants, so that's what he gets. Michael Connor making a joke at the end. I think you're right. The glider crashes at the end. Okay, guys, have a wonderful evening. I'm gonna go do one thing, and then I gotta go to bed. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.